Yo, welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops with your boy, Nicky P. Man, we lost a legend a few days ago, man. We lost a legend a handful of days ago. Rest in peace to the one, the only, Mr. Lenny Wilkens, man. Lenny Wilkens lived a basketball life that almost feels mythical. You look at his journey and you see a man who never needed to shout for attention, never needed theatrics, never begged for praise, yet ended up carving out one of the greatest legacies the sport has ever seen. His story is proof that real excellence does not require ego. It requires consistency, clarity, empathy, and a relentless standard for what good basketball is supposed to look like. Lenny came from Brooklyn, growing up in an environment that demanded toughness and maturity before you even understood what those words meant. That background shaped the way he led. His early life did not give him privilege, but it gave him perspective. He learned how to communicate across different personalities, how to keep groups together, and how to manage pressure without panicking. Those traits would become the backbone of everything he accomplished, first as a player and then as a coach. As a player, Lenny was elegance and control. He played point guard the way a great director conducts a symphony. He dictated tempo, used angles better than almost anyone of his era, and made teammates better through intentionality. He was an all-NBA talent without needing to flash, and he carried himself with a poise that demanded respect from opponents. His game aged well because it was rooted in IQ. You rarely see that level of command from someone who eventually becomes an all-time coach. Usually the great players either burn out early or ride their natural ability without ever fully understanding how to teach it. Lenny understood his own mind, and that made him lethal on the court and invaluable on the sideline. The rarest part of his legacy is the dual Hall of Fame induction. Let me say it again, folks. The dual Hall of Fame induction. It's almost unheard of. There have been great players, there have been great coaches. There have been very few who dominated both lanes with the same calm, force, and strategic brilliance. Lenny is one of the only people in basketball history who mastered two completely different crafts. Coaching requires patience, something a lot of great players don't have for players that are less than them. A big picture understanding, ego management, and long-term planning. Playing requires instincts, reaction speed, and a different type of physical and mental toughness and investment. Lenny became elite at both. That alone puts him in a category all by himself. His coaching career carries achievements that cannot be reduced to wins and losses. He taught generations how to play the right way. He coached during multiple eras, adjusting with the game instead of fighting the evolution. That takes humility, intelligence, and a high basketball IQ. Whether it was Seattle, Portland, Cleveland, Toronto, or even Team USA, he always carried the same steady presence. Players trusted him because he never tried to be a dictator. He treated them like people first and athletes second. That leadership style created loyalty and allowed his teams to reflect his personality. Disciplined, mature, unselfish, and incredibly prepared. The 1979 Seattle Supersonics championship remains one of the gems of NBA history. That team did not win because it had overwhelming talent. They won because Lenny engineered a system that elevated every single player. He built a culture where defense mattered, details mattered, and responsibility mattered. His coaching fingerprints were all over the league even after he left Seattle. Many of his players went on to become coaches themselves or broadcasters, mentors, and leaders, all teaching examples that they learned from Lenny because of what he did and how he showed instead of told on a day-to-day basis when he interacted with his players. What separated Lenny was his emotional intelligence. The man understood people. He understood timing. He knew when to push and when to encourage. A lot of coaches struggle with that balance. Lenny thrived in it. Even today, many modern coaching philosophies trace back to ideas he normalized. Ball movement, spacing, empowering role players, emphasizing trust, leading through respecting rather than fear. He was ahead of his time for sure. When you think about the impact he left on players, you hear consistent themes. They talk about his calmness. They talk about how he never allowed chaos to dictate the moment. They talk about clarity he gave them in big situations. He had a way of saying one or two simple sentences in a huddle that made everything make sense. That's a gift. That's a leadership that stays with you long after you stop playing. His passing hit the basketball community hard because people recognized that a chapter of the sport's foundation closed with him. He was more than a great coach. He was a symbol of humility, class personified and excellence. He represented the best version of what basketball can be when ego doesn't get in the way. His legacy is not tied up to highlight reels or viral moments. It's tied to values and discipline, collaboration and accountability, and character. Those qualities that never go out of style in sports and in life. Lenny's influence will continue to shape the game forever because it lives through the generations of coaches he inspired and the players he'd helped develop. You still see his principles in today's NBA. You see them every time a coach emphasizes ball movement. You see them every time players talk about trust in the process and staying poised. You see them in the growth of international basketball, where he helped push the game forward with his commitment to fundamentals in global competition. Only a handful of people can say that they changed the game as both a player and a coach. Lenny Wilkens did it while remaining one of the most grounded and humble figures that sports has ever seen or produced. That combination is rare. That combination is powerful. His story is a reminder that greatness does not always scream. Sometimes it speaks softly and still gets heard across generations. His life will continue to echo through the basketball world. His impact is forever permanent. His standard is still worth chasing. Lenny Wilkens proved that leadership, skill, and humanity can live in the same person, and basketball is better because he lived that truth every single day. And with that said, folks, rest in peace to the legend, man. One of a kind, or one of one, Mr. Lenny Wilkens. May he rest in power. And this is Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Hoops with your boy, Nicky P. Thanks again for tapping in, tuning in. And hop in a comment in there if you have a random Lenny Wilkens story, or just have a random factoid about Lenny Wilkens, or something you heard about him, something that you heard from a player, whatever it is, man. Hop in there and let's pay a little homage to one of the greats. And until the next one, it's your boy Nicky P, and I'm out. Peace.